Good morning, guys. Well, today got into the truck, went and did some errands, and got into the truck after doing it, and I got a blue light on. And I can try flashing my bright lights, and that light won't go off. But more importantly, key off, engine off, my lights are on. That's an issue. Let's see if we can fix it. Now, I don't like to destroy evidence, but I'm going to take some time to go over the wiring diagrams, and while I'm doing that, I don't want the battery to die. So I'm going to undo and clean off my negative cable of the battery, but while we're at it, just have a look here. Those are rat turds, and so I've had a rat that's been nesting up here in the car. I hope that's not an underlying cause. So this is the horn relay, and this is the security or headlamp relay, and I think the most likely culprit is going to be this relay, so I'm going to take it out and I'll test it first and see if I can detect an abnormality. I'm going to skip over this next section out of respect for your time. Suffice to say that both passive and active testing of the relay was normal. My next thought was that it was possibly the headlight switch or the master switch in the steering wheel, so I spent some time on the dealer's repair manual scanning over wiring diagrams. That night I was able to change the intensity of the headlights by flicking the multi-switch on and off, suggesting that the switch on the steering column was working normally. Then I smartened up and asked for advice from a few internet strangers with the help of Google, using the search term, "headlights won't turn off, Dodge Ram." I found all kinds of references about how a failing DRL relay module will cause the headlights to remain on. So, with that little pearl, I went back to the service manual, identified the DRL relay module above the driver's front wheel well, and disconnected the relay. In this shot, we're leaning over the front driver's side wheel well just under the power braking module. You can see the detached connector with its blue weatherproofing seal. You just pry off the plastic tab and wiggle the connector free. With that effort, my headlights went off and I was able to sleep through the night without concern about draining my battery. Well, it looks like this is held on with just one nut. It's a 10 millimeter. Let's get that off and see if we can get the bad DRL out. There it is right there. Unfortunately, replacing the module doesn't come cheap. My options are a junkyard part, OEM or aftermarket replacement, or to activate daytime lighting lights manually. Well, driving around the next day, of course, my daytime running lights weren't working. I had to activate those manually, but everything else seemed to be working fine. My high beams were working fine. I could switch back and forth. The only somewhat inconvenient issue is the fact that the little blue indicator light telling me the high beams are on wasn't working. Let's have a look at the wiring diagram and see if there's any clue as to how we might solve that problem. Well, here's a schematic for my vehicle, the 1998 Dodge Ram. You can see the rectangular box in the middle is the DRL module. Notice that a red wire with an orange stripe sends a high beam signal through pin 1 of the DRL module, and a high beam indicator signal leaves the module through pin 4 to go to the instrument cluster on a red wire with a gray stripe. What would happen if we jumped pins 1 and 4? Here's a view of the connector showing how to identify the pins. Sometimes I get questions as to whether the details on one vehicle apply to another. Well, of course they don't. You need to get a wiring diagram for your vehicle. All right, in my hand, this is the DRL connector, and notice the tab is to the top. This is terminal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I've made an educated guess to jump the high beam light to the high beam indicator light on the dash, just to see if jumping that I can get that blue light back on my dash to tell me that the high beams are still activated. Let's see if it worked. Okay, let's see if it works. The lights are on and high beams are on, and I've got that light back. So I've got a workaround here. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. Thanks for watching.